I'm going to make a video about how I went from eating a paleo diet to eating a, well, raw vegan diet now. People ask me that a lot these days. Thomas, how did you become a vegan? How did you go from one opposite to the other? Well, let's go back 2 years in time. I was driving back from a couple towns over, about to get back to my house. That day, let's see, I'd eaten a barbecue with my family. I'd had some roast chicken and I think a couple burgers and cheese, and I had a couple glasses of wine at lunchtime. And I was heading back into town. My friend called me out of nowhere and said, "Hey, I just made some ayahuasca. Do you want to try it?" And I thought, okay, sure. Let's give it a whirl. Let's give it a spin. Let's see what happens. So I'm gonna shorten the whole ayahuasca experience because that's really a whole different video. We ended up doing ayahuasca and whatever, and the end of the trip, I realized that I was being judged by the Mother Nature and Mother Nature's manifestation in that trip, that I shouldn't be eating animals in order to reach my highest self. And if anyone knows about ayahuasca, has done a bit of research, it's actually quite a common occurrence for people to stop eating animals to some degree, or at least for a period of time after doing ayahuasca, because of the connection they feel to nature and their renewed sense of compassion. So the next day I went vegetarian completely, and then I went vegan a month later, and then raw vegan not too shortly afterwards. And so I'll talk a bit about my diet before I talk about what I'm doing now. I was basically on Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Body muscle building food plan, okay? So I was eating a bunch of greens, which is good, but they were pretty much cooked greens with lots of salt and oil added, which is ridiculous. I was eating about a pound of beef a day, sometimes less. I was eating a lot of cooked carbohydrates, rice and things like that, but not as many as I should have been. I was really on a fairly low carb diet, very high fat, high protein. Some of the things I noticed on that diet were, well, one, my muscles looked bigger, but they felt awful. They felt, whenever I flexed, I'd feel a burning sensation. I feel this like acidic presence in my muscle tissue all over my body. I'd flex and I could feel this like sort of burning sensation, and it wasn't a post-workout burning sensation. It was just like this acidic presence, like not even lactic acid, just this awful feeling. I'd become my sides, my stomach had become kind of bloated and puffed out. My face had become puffy, and I was irritable, and I was very inflamed. I'd wake up every morning and my nose would be stuffy. My nose would be stuffy constantly, and it would be mucousy and gross. I'd be blowing my nose a lot. I was like, what is going on? Why do I feel this way? I would have gas a lot. I would be burping, and every time I burped, it would just be acidic, this acidic feeling, and I'd get this sort of acid, almost acid reflux kind of thing after every meal. I'd feel this horrible acidity in my body, and I was like, what's going on? This is supposed to be a good diet. There was very little benefit to eating that way. But in my head, I thought, I read this book, and this guy says that this is really healthy, so it must be really healthy. So fast forward a little bit till after the ayahuasca trip. This is about in the middle of the summer. About August time, I went vegetarian, and then I went vegan. And as soon as I went vegan was when I really started noticing some changes in my life, emotionally and physically. Physically, I would still wake up with kind of a stuffy nose sometimes because I was eating very salty foods, still quite a bit fat. But I felt a little less inflamed. My muscles didn't have that acidic feeling anymore when I flexed them, that burning sensation, which was so apparent. I didn't have acid feelings from burping anymore. I didn't need to drink coffee anymore. That's another thing. I was drinking coffee every day on this sort of paleo Tim Ferriss diet because I needed it. I was tired without it. I couldn't function without it. And I thought, I thought that was totally normal. I thought coffee is fine. I've been drinking it for 7 years. It's just who I am. That's what I do. As I went vegan, and then raw vegan was the most intense change because it actually made me realize that I was looking at diet the wrong way. I realized that people shouldn't be picking diets based on what they're told is healthy. They should be picking diets and choosing what they eat based on what makes them feel the best. Because what you're told has there's so many different reasons that you're told what you're told as far as what's healthy. There's always private interest, or almost always, There's always someone that wants to sell you a product and sell you a lifestyle, sell you their books and things like that online. It's everywhere. You need to pick your diet because it makes you feel good and makes you feel the best you can be. And I realized that you have to move through that. You can even convince yourself that what you're doing is the best that you can be doing based on what you read in a magazine or gathered online, things like that. And you can take these products and you can convince yourself that they're working. Like, oh yeah, I felt great after that. Yeah, totally. But did you actually feel great, So as a raw vegan, I also stopped wanting to drink coffee. It's not like I had to really try and give it up. It was just one day I realized I don't even need this coffee anymore. I have a lot of energy. I have a lot of focus. I don't need to consume this adrenal stimulant anymore in order to function properly. So that was remarkable because I'd been drinking coffee for, like I said, about 7 years. And to suddenly just not want to even drink it anymore after having it for that long, that was intense. That was an intense realization that something was happening. And of course I went through all the detox symptoms, which again is probably another video to talk about what to expect if you're going to try this lifestyle out, because it is so intense. I had to call out of work for it. Let's see, what else? Oh yes, the original reason I tried the vegan diet was because of the ayahuasca, obviously, and the raw vegan diet was just, I wanted to take it as far as I could in that direction to see what it would be like. I had to try it. When my friend was telling me about it, dude, I eat 30 bananas a day, you should totally give it a try. I was like, what? That's crazy. You can't live off 30 bananas a day or whatever. That's nuts. I've got to give it a try. I've got to give it a try to see if it works. I started doing it, felt amazing, and one of the biggest things I noticed is my compassion for people and animals. It rose. I felt more compassionate for all of the living things on this planet. It was probably the weirdest side effect I've had from being a vegan is like I couldn't imagine killing an animal for food. It just I wouldn't want to do that. It would be very upsetting. I care about the animals and I care about people. I'm not angry at people as much as I used to be. I used to be a very angry person when I ate the diet that I used to eat. I just feel more connected to everything around me, and I feel like being compassionate is part of being a responsible human being and being understanding of everyone and everything that you share the planet with. So that was incredible because back when I was eating meat, I was like, fuck cows, they taste great, ha ha ha, that kind of thing, which I know tons of paleo people do, they aren't compassionate at all about, and I didn't have the mental capacity, I feel like, to really understand the compassion side of things until I went vegan, until I started experiencing this higher level of clarity without stimulants, without anything, just this higher level of consciousness. And I know it sounds condescending when I say, I experienced a higher level of consciousness, but honestly, I'm not trying to be condescending. I'm very serious when I say that. It's been a really meaningful experience to do the raw vegan diet. So, yeah, my compassion went up, and I realized that I was a vegan now because of the animals as well. it fortified my position on why I was a vegan and this amazing experience I was having. So in retrospect, in about 3 months' time, I went from eating a pound of meat a day, lots of cooked vegetables, lots of oil, lots of salt, to eating raw fruit, raw vegetables, just everything raw, high carb, low fat, vegan. And the change is like night and day. It is literally night and day. I couldn't run for shit when I was eating meat, dairy, all that cooked oil, salt, heavy food. I couldn't run for shit unless I had my coffee or a pre-workout supplement or some kind of crazy stimulant to get me in gear. I just couldn't do it. Now, I had to convince myself that I need to take another day off to recover. I literally have so much energy that overworking out is a problem just because I want to be moving. I want to be exercising. I want to be jumping around and swinging from trees and, being out in nature. It's amazing. I know there's a lot of skeptics out there. There's a lot of people who may see this who are on the paleo diet and think, that guy's full of shit. And I totally understand where you're coming from. It sounds like fucking insanity, bro, but I tell you what, the only way you'll ever know what it feels like is just to try it. And I encourage people to try all kinds of different diets. Try them all, because the one that feels best to you will be the one that you stick with, or it should be the one you stick with. So if eating animals is your thing and you really think that you feel better eating that way, which I could challenge, then do it. But if you have an experience as a raw vegan or a vegan, then stick with it. Just do what feels good. Don't read all the magazines. Don't listen to all these crazy snake oil salesmen on the internet. They want your money. They don't want your health. They don't want you to be healthy. They don't care. They're just selling the fad that's hot right now. Paleo fad is hot right now. It's being sold to everyone, and you're buying it, or you're not buying it. So that's a quick sort of jump around story about how I became a vegan. More videos to come. Peace and love, everyone. Stay healthy.